Welcome back. Well, it seems we're going to be staying in the realm of money and investing and that sort of thing, because we're going to look now at family business succession planning, something that we sometimes don't think about, and then there are big fights after the last sword hits. Yeah, we don't want to have that. So let's talk succession planning with Mr. Grant Walsh and Miss Debbie. Actually, Mr.
Derwin Howell.
Derwin Howell. Good morning, sir.
Fine. You see what Jeremy said? Read the fine.
Well, actually, Grant Walsh is written pretty big. Good morning, sir. Derwin. How are you doing?
Hi, good morning.
And we have Debbie Poole.
Brenda
Poole. Oh, yeah.
That was written pretty big too, Colin.
Anyway,
that's
welcome.
All right.
Good morning.
All right, so we KPMG and BNB have come together to talk about succession planning. Is this a marriage made in heaven?
Well, they both look very, very happy.
Well, I don't know about a marriage made in heaven. I think it's a marriage made in the reality that this bothering statistic that 70% of family businesses do not succeed past the first generation, and less than 90% get to the second generation. So we, as a group of companies, when we heard what the Prime Minister said a few months back when he was presenting at Elcock's function, right. We decided that since in KPMG we have a unit in Canada that for the last 15 years has only been focusing on family and business enterprise and the tools to help them succeed into future generations after the founders have gone, we felt that this was something that was very important that we could bring to Barbados and the Caribbean.
So what's the plan here? How are we going to roll this out then to Barbados?
So Brenda and I had a chat. We secured the services of Grant Walsh so Grant is there.
Yes.
In big print.
He is the presenter to do these seminars, and actually we decided because BNB is part of the Republic Bank Group, we decided that we will try and take this regional. So wherever KPMG and Republic Bank exists in the region, Grant is going to be on a little road show, but we're starting off in Barbados and moving it to Grenada, Guyana, and then Trinidad. And this I think is very much in line with BNB and Republic Bank's trust into working with small businesses and family businesses because these businesses tend to be the engine of the economies, and it's important that we work with them, not only in providing finance, but certainly in providing them with tools to succeed. Because obviously a successful business is something that is beneficial to the bank, but also to the economies and our societies.
Sorry, I'm kind of curious as to whether or not you feel this is necessary because of how the family businesses feed into the economy, or because we now need to formalize what was formerly perhaps an emotional assumption on the parts of the older generation. Oh, well, my son's here, he'll look after it.
Well, I think a bit of both, A bit of
Definitely.
both.
Yeah. I would agree that it is particularly in light of the recent economic times when we've had some significantly large conglomerates and international businesses going under. I think what's happening is that the banks and our countries are realizing that, as Derwin said, these indigenous, local, family-owned, in many cases, businesses are really where the stability, the long-term stability of the countries are going to be, and therefore it behoves us as professional advisors and also the finance sector to not only work with them, but to give them specific tools to help them have a better probability of continuing to succeed, to continuing to employ others, to continuing to provide the diversity of business in our countries. And that's really what this is about, because I think when Mr. Walsh talks, he's been in this for the last 15 years. He's written a number of books, papers, he's done presentations and worked with businesses all over the world, Canada, New Zealand, in the Caribbean, Bermuda now. And their premise and our findings are that once the financial institutions and the professional advisors understand some of the special nuances not just only the regular financial aspects, but the communication, the dynamics, the family component aspects that need to be addressed, that need to be looked at, that need to be discussed, that need to be put on the table, and that need to be, as you say, the sons, the daughters, or the other persons who are taking over the businesses. Those things all have to be on the table to ensure sustainability.
Do you find, though, that there's still a prevalence of family businesses in the region, specifically maybe those countries you mentioned?
I think so. Trinidad is full of family. Here is full of family businesses, and they all play a very important role. Brenda spoke about employment. So when a family business goes under, it's not just a question of, we have lost a business, we lose employment, we lose taxes, there's a lot of impact, and so I think at the end of the day it's very important for us to make sure that we nurture those businesses, make sure that we give them all the tools to succeed, and that is where we come in.
There's a notion, should we continue, I mean I know it has some nostalgia to it, should we continue to call them family business, because sometimes that is why it doesn't go on, because you see it as a family and then the son doesn't step up and then there's failure. So should you see it as a business that is built to succeed and to go forward, and then it doesn't matter who you put in charge and who leaves and who takes it over, even if you just keep the name going and that sort of thing?
Yes, but as Mr. Walsh will say to the groups, in the long run, or initially, particularly in the first generation, we're talking about carrying it to the second and third generation, and we really need to start to beat that statistic. I mean, less than 75% into the next generation is not good, because you will have had a lot of investment from the banking sector, from other people who are making investments into the business. So whether you want to put the business first and then the family after, but Mr. Walsh's and his perspective is, and the whole, we have a unit in KPMG in Canada, that's all that they deal with, family businesses, I mean, however you want to use the definition. And we have to remember that family businesses does not mean a 1- and 2-man or 3-man shop. We have some significant family businesses with some big names across the region, okay? And it's about making sure that some of the dynamics, because yes, it's the business, but then there are other dynamics when you have other stakeholders, other shareholders, and these are the kind of communication strategies, these are the kind of things that the service providers who are working with them need to not just only treat it always only as a straight business, but also add this other layer at the side or on top. You can look at it however you want. That is the family component.
I just want to add to that. I mean, part of this whole approach is also a bit of education for the banks and, as Bernard said, other service providers, because we also need to understand some of the finer points of family businesses to interact with them on a better basis, that when we analyze their operations and their finances and so on, there are certain different ways they do things, and we need to understand that to make us a little more effective in working with family businesses. So there's a sort of two-pronged approach here. We're trying to give tools to the family businesses, but we're also trying to get some tools ourselves from Grant to understand how best, because part of his remit here is also to work with the banks and KPMG.
Having said that, then give us some more details as to the opportunities people will have to hear from Mr. Grant Walsh.
Okay, well, we have a seminar on Tuesday. That's February.
I know.
July 19th.
It was just February. It's all right.
July 19th. It is a free seminar. The people that are interested need to contact either KPMG or at 434-3900 or BNB.
Corporate and commercial division. They're very limited spaces. However, it's really sort of an invitation only largely to our customers and some of KPMG's customers, but we certainly would appreciate other people coming in. But again, they're very limited spaces.
So where was it again?
It's going to be at LESC, Lloyd Erskine Sandiford Center. 8 o'clock on Tuesday morning. It's a morning session, so people will still have the rest of the day after 11:30, 12. So that we are very conscious and cognizant of the fact that in some of the smaller cases, you know, bringing out both persons out, both of the senior people or
most of the invitations have gone out sort of in pairs because they want the head and whoever might be the successor as well to hear the message, you know, and I think it's important that they both hear the same message at the same time.
Where do we go from Barbados?
I think we go to Guyana and then Grenada and then we go to Trinidad.
So family businesses with this seminar clearly are alive and well in the Caribbean, is what you're saying.
And we hope to keep them that way as well.
Definitely. Wonderful. We're pleased to hear that. Thank you so much for joining us here to give us some insight as to what is on offer for family-run businesses. The Managing Director of the Barbados National Bank, Derwin Howell, and Advisory Partner KPMG, Brenda Pope. Thank you very much, and we're looking forward to a successful seminar.
And we'd just like to add one thing, that then Mr. Walsh will be available to discuss with people after, and potentially other consulting or advice assistants.
Interactive.
After he's left. I mean, he works with them remotely, and there are opportunities for additional assistance.
So if you cannot get the time to come out, don't worry, Mr. Walsh will be available post.
But we still want you there because you know, hearing it live and direct is always very good.
Wonderful. We've come to the top of the hour, so we need to say goodbye, but thank you very much for joining us. Time now for our nice tip before we go to our news.
Thank you.
And the nice tip today is, if a customer does not understand, it means that you are not communicating effectively. Take the time to communicate in a way that works for the customer.